It's Christmas Day, y'all. As a kid, a lot of us look forward to this most happy of days. As an adult without kids, the day definitely has lost most of its luster, but the childhood memories are immortal. You'd be tearing open packages, hoping Santa brought you a new game or game console. One of my favorite memories was actually a Super Nintendo game my grandpa sent us, Mortal Kombat 2. That was for sure a very bloody Christmas. Growing up in America, Christmas is so ingrained in our society, and they start you out young. I remember the early years of grade school. December was just all Christmas all the time. Constant arts and crafts projects, continuous Christmas songs, and the telling, reading, or watching of many Christmas stories. Classics like How the Grinch Stole Christmas and A Charlie Brown Christmas, to even older stories like The Gift of the Magi and A Christmas Carol. Yeah, A Christmas Carol. The story of Ebenezer Scrooge and his journey with the three ghosts of Christmas that try to cure him of his greedy and selfish ways. I remember it mostly from the Muppet Christmas Carol back from '92. I always thought the story from 1843 was missing something. What it needed was a sequel. And not just a sequel, but a sequel where Scrooge beats bad guys down with his cane, and he summons spirits to wipe out evil ghosts. Boss battles that require skill and cunning, and all in a METROIDVANIA playstyle. Well, I guess the devs at Orbit Studio thought of the exact same thing. Let's take a look at Ebenezer and the Invisible World. The game has you play as Ebenezer Scrooge, but the story is actually focused more on Caspar Malthus. His father Gaius passed away and left him an industrial empire that makes its money on the backs of their overworked and neglected workers. The three ghosts of Christmas show up to try and show Caspar a better path, much like they did with Scrooge. It's revealed to Caspar that he'll work his whole life to make a great invention, only to die alone without anyone knowing of his work. Caspar decides to change his ways when he's visited by an evil spirit that offers him a more sinister option. So the ghosts of Christmas, along with the spirits of those that were close to Caspar, ask Scrooge for his help to save Caspar from his wicked path. I was not expecting the story to be mainly about someone else, but I do think it's awesome for Scrooge to guide someone to the right path. It's such a great idea of having Scrooge use his experience of going through the exact same thing to return the favor to the ones that helped him. And the art in this game is just fantastic. All the cutscenes and character portraits are beautifully drawn and a joy to look at. Now, the in-game graphics are, they're hit or miss, in my opinion. A lot of the enemies look really cool, but the human characters and some of the spirits kind of look like they were pulled out of a Facebook mobile game. But I do find the backgrounds and foregrounds to be quite stunning. I like going through parts of the city and seeing a bunch of people walking around in the background, or going through the cemetery and seeing chained ghosts reaching out from a wrecked train. That's so cool. Speaking of the enemies, you'll see a few that were inspired by some other popular games. Like this little guy crawling around platforms. Reminds me of the Zoomers from Metroid. Or these annoying bastards that hop around make me think of the Fleamen from Castlevania. And like I said before, the enemies overall look awesome, and I did get excited about seeing new ones pop up. The combat in this game is pretty straightforward for a Metroidvania. Scrooge can collect different weapons and use skills awarded to him by various spirits. Select the weapon, select the spirit, and go beat up some bad guys. You can also unlock little familiars that will float around you and assist, much like in Castlevania's Symphony of the Night. Scrooge can also find heirlooms that are scattered throughout the game that provide bonuses, like an arrow that will point you to secret passages or secret breakable points. The best part about the combat are the boss battles. The bosses look cool and have some awesome animations. You gotta learn the pattern and execute appropriately. The giant ghost made of stone and pillars is my favorite. It's almost as if you're fighting a giant possessed castle. My only criticism of this is that the boss fights don't really offer a big enough challenge. I don't recall dying to a boss at all. They're not super easy, but they're really not that difficult either. And this game does have a few drawbacks. The biggest one being that the music isn't really that good. You get the same kind of haunting tunes throughout the whole game. One of my favorite things from Metroidvania games is that they usually have awesome music. There's not a single track in this game that gets my blood pumping. It's all just very somber. There also seems to be a lack of sound effects. For example, fighting the giant castle ghost, he unleashes this big beam move, but there's no sound effect for it at all. What's with that? Then there are some sound effects that are really loud and pronounced, like when you use the spirit axe. Why is it so loud? You will find stuff like this throughout the entire game. The game also has some jank to it, or just little weird glitches, like when you're underwater and you jump on a platform. For a split second, you can hear the game transfer over to the stage music, then go back to being muddled. But the most annoying thing is that sometimes your button inputs don't work. I'll be fighting an enemy, do something to avoid their attacks, and then none of my attacks come out. I swear, I'm mashing the attack button. Luckily, we live in a time where stuff like this can be fixed and updated, so I'm sure the devs are working on it. Overall, I think the game is okay. It's not the best Metroidvania game, but it certainly isn't the worst. I did have fun playing it, and the Christmas Carol theme is just such a wild and crazy idea. And the game is pretty short. I beat it in 7 hours, so wait for a Steam sale if you're interested. I want to close out this video by wishing everyone happy holidays. Hug your friends, call your parents, and just enjoy yourself. You've earned it. And if you too have played Ebenezer in the Invisible World, what did you think about it? Feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas.